Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video we're going to be making 1 pound lead ingots from reclaimed lead from a dentist office. So check it out. Here you see Ted's just chopping it with an axe, getting it down to size so that we can put it onto a barrel stove to dry it out. You don't want to get any water in your lead pot. That's very dangerous. Explosions, steam, not fun. So just chop it down here into sheets. We had about a 10 by 12 x-ray room, all the wall sheeting behind the drywall to process. Then we just set up the old barrel stove outside. We got blessed with a 70-degree day on January 21st, 2017. You can see the sheet here. You see the moisture inside of it. It's really wet. We don't want that going into our lead pot, so we'll dry her out first. This is the stove here. It's just the old barrel stove from inside of the shop. I'm just keeping a low fire going in it, just enough to dry the water out. We don't really want to melt the lead, but it's nice to get it soft and flexible too for bending and making plugs. And it's just old school. We got stacked up around, just a couple sections of pipe on it, create some draw. This is the lead that we're processing. It was glued on the back of drywall sheets. It was the shielding for an X-ray room in a dentist's office, and we had 2 wheelbarrows full. We're about halfway point here. It's interesting here to note that the cold molds don't discolor the ingots, but the second round turns slightly blue, and they get more and more blue. We don't really care. We're making bullets out of it. We're going to send it downrange. It's going to turn really blue when it gets hot from gunpowder. But we're about halfway through at this point, and there's good 600-700 bars in there already. These are 1 pound ingots. They're pretty. The alignment mold's pretty nice. Here's how we're making plugs to put them into our melting pot. Keep in mind that all utensils that you need will have to be either cast iron or stainless steel. Otherwise, lead will stick to it. And those old cast iron pots your grandma had. Here's another use for them. We just fold up the plugs, get it nice and tight so that we can get it into the pot, and plus it gets all the air out of it so that after it melts you have more in your pot. The goal is to push as much of the air out as possible. So the old cast iron Dutch oven, my grandma used to deep fry in one. Now we melt lead in them. And you can buy these new too. You can go right into Walmart or any of the big box stores and pull this off the shelf. Just like this turkey deep fryer, it's a right off the shelf item. No modifications to it at all. It's just how it comes right from the store. Put it up on some plywood on a backboard. Got our 2 Lyman molds. We really wish we would have had 10. But how many times do you process 1,100 pounds of lead in one day in your life? It just doesn't happen. Now the lead takes a while to melt. It's not drop it and as fast as you feed it that it melts. It's not like that at all. It's actually quite a little bit time-consuming process. You want to keep some liquid in the bottom though. Makes it easier. That's for sure. But here's Ted. He's starting the paper's starting to come loose from the lead. As the lead melts, it releases everything that's lighter than it will float. And of course, you need libations. At this point, we're about 10 hours into smelting lead. We started at noon. We ran all the way to midnight. And like I said, we processed about 1,100 pounds of lead in 12 hours. It was a long, long day. But like I said, the bonus here to this, which the people who gave us this sheeting thought that it was no good because it had glue on it and paper and drywall. But the rules of science say that when you melt metal, and if it's heavier than whatever's around it, it sinks to the bottom. So even the steel screws were floating on top of the melted lead here. So it was really easy to clean, actually. Time consuming. The smoldering paper was stinky, but all in all, it was very easy. It just took time. And this turned out to be a generational lead smelt. It's more lead than I'll ever need. It's more lead than Ted will ever need. It's more lead than hopefully our sons will ever need. And, there's a whole lot of disclaimer here. Be careful. Don't play with this. But Ted said the bonus is the less people that do this, is less people can return fire. So making bullets, sinkers. This was a really good score of lead for us. But if you want to tear apart car batteries, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there to show you how to do all that too. There's plenty of sources of lead out there yet. Now that we have all the stinky scrape, all that smoldering paper and drywall and any screws that made it past the plug folding, now we got to flux it and get all the fine stuff off. Now we do this with paraffin. Paraffin pushes any residual impurities together, and as you see here in the picture, we like to try to light it up to burn off any of the little paper fibers that are left floating on the surface of the lead, since we were dealing with paper here. The main shot here, it just wouldn't light up. And tried, and I think it was the fan was blowing too hard. Up top though, she lit up. But funny thing was, every time that it would light up, it would, after dark, it would turn out or dust it on light. So we'd stay as the light would go out, as you'll see in the picture the fire goes out, and then the light would go out, and we'd have to jump around to turn the motion light on again. A little bit of fun. But this was a long day. We're talking 12 hours. You guys are seeing the clippings and pastings of almost 4 hours of video broke down into a 10-minute how-to. But here you see, after the paraffin, it pulls all these little impurities up to the surface that we didn't have before. And the nice thing about the paraffin is that it either A, smokes off and turns white, so it's gone, or B, you can light it up and burn it off. And these impurities that are coming off are mainly nickel. So we're not real worried about that, because we're going to be remelting this and adding nickel to it when we use it. But our cast iron dipper pot, and just go nice and easy. You can see that the lead's really hot here. It's pouring like water. That's because we just finished the melt. After the first round of ingots, and we know that we got all the junk out of it. Nothing comes shooting to the surface. And we get the first 8 ingots poured off. And don't fill your pot up the whole way. If you don't need a full pot, if you're only pouring the last bar, only get enough for the last bar. And you can leave your cast iron in upside down. What this will do is it'll heat up the cast iron of the pot, and it'll keep the lead from sticking to it for you. But these here, you jiggle them. If you jiggle the handles and they don't wiggle, they're done. And I'll show you here in a second. I'll get a close up of that for you. And the first couple rounds come out real quick, and then you got to start waiting for the molds to cool. And this is where our choke point became, the whole processing of the mold. That was just, we had to wait on them to cool. And we didn't want to set them in a water pan or on a wet. Well, we tried a wet t-shirt, but it stank. So we just kept churning. It was a very long day. But as you see here, the lead's pouring really, really fluidly. And now that everything's rocking and rolling smooth, Ted's going to come around here and turn us down on the low heat, just enough to keep the lead moving, but to let it thicken up a little bit. By dropping the temperature of the lead, here's the jiggle. See, you touch it, it still moves. You jiggle it, it just moves in the center a little bit. So you want to wait until they stop moving and then flip them out. But by lowering it, here's good finished ingots. This one here is out of the first flip, so it's still shiny and looks like something you would buy. It weighs a pound. They're anywhere from 15.9 to 16.3 pounds, or ounces. Now this here, they get stuck together, so just wiggle them apart. You can go back and trim them all up and clean them all up. But if you're putting them in like a Lee smelter or an RCBS smelter or something to make bullets, there's really no reason to. And here's our total haul. Here in the wheelbarrow, there's about 1,400 ingots. We sent Grandpa home with 300 or 400. It's more than he'll ever need. Thanks for watching.